Stranger Than Heaven just showed us a little bit more everything. The combat is like, we got little matchsticks. They got Snoop Dogg in the joint. But how can it hold up to the only test that matters for a Yakuza game? The bread test. Show me Yakuza 7's bread. Oh my God, look at the bread. Can we get an action replay on that? Look at how the glutens are being maximized by the pixels. The asymmetrical tear of the fluffy loaf of bread. That's 10 out of 10 bread right there. Now show me Stranger Than Heaven's bread scene. Oh my God, look at the bread tear here, huh? Sir, you just bit into a fluffy loaf of bread like it was a rock. Why is this breaking like a Kit Kat bar? Also, how do you tear bread into 2 slices? That's pre-sliced bread. That's not how bread behaves, okay? This is bread, okay? This is bread, but that's not bread. Ever since the departure of Toshihiro Nagoshi, RGG have strived to reinvent themselves, and that is finally apparent with Stranger Than Heaven's heavily saturated palette, desperate to escape the legacy of the dragon that works wonderfully in the night with all the neon lights, but in the daylight, it looks like it was colored in with a blue ballpoint pen. Why does this look like Sandland? The same legacy that was cemented around wielding a double-edged blade that balances dramatic tension with wacky absurdity. Upon Toshihiro's good terms departure from Super Monkey Ball, Yakuza became like a dragon, and pioneering turn-based combat was introduced to a storyline that put the absurdity ahead of the seriousness, even bringing Kiryu back and giving him a Spider-Man gadget or turning Majima a pirate canonically. But with Stranger Than Heaven, they make their intentions to return to a serious form of storytelling clear. And this is where the Yakuza series shine, because we saw something like this before. Slightly easier to digest combat than the Kiwami engine with a deeper focus on narrative. RGG proved they can nail this recipe like a decade ago with Yakuza 6, The Song of Life. The first Yakuza game to show off the Dragon engine after Zero and Kiwami 1 blended console generations is Yakuza 6. The Dragon engine entered the Western next gen 2 years late, looking next gen, and that's something even like a dragon gets right. Ryuga Gotoku have put out some of the highest quality in annual release open world single player games, especially in comparison to Assassin's Creed, and they always manage to surpass expectations on their graphics. Except for Kiwami 3. What the fuck was this? Huh? One of the reasons for this is Kamurocho. This city returns with nearly every release with slight changes. In contrast to most sequel new maps, bringing a familiar map every single year brings a sense of evolution to the world. Kamurocho has changed with the times. We've had Kamurocho in the 80s, in the 90s, in the 2000s. Payphones were rife, and then we entered the smartphone era. Buildings were demolished, new buildings were constructed. The streets changed, the lighting changed, the smoking laws changed, the engine changed, and coming up, we'll be getting Kamurocho in the 60s. Kamurocho shines in the Dragon engine, and Yakuza 6 may be the best looking Yakuza in the series. The city lights are just the right saturation before Kiwami 2 cranked it up. The pedestrians cluster up and fill the streets. The puddles reflect the neon signs, and if you dare to look up and feel the scale of the map with towering buildings framing this tiny section of the city that somehow never gets tiring with each new game. It's small but compactified, dense and rich with opportunities for immersion. Grab a drink from a nearby vending machine and sip it casually as you walk down the illuminated streets. Stop by restaurants to grab a bite and actually watch Kiryu eat and savor the view. Man, I love this mechanic because it's in these moments the city stops being set dressing and starts breathing. Both of these aren't mechanics available to you in Like a Dragon anymore. Vending machine drinks go to your inventory and a lazy ass cutscene plays in the restaurants. The Dragon engine introduced in Yakuza 6 would go on to power every Yakuza entry onwards, making each game's graphics stand out in their own way. Yakuza's story is rich but slow-paced. Most of the time, you're experiencing it like this.
分かってます。俺らもジョーさん、それで
わざわざ俺も
さっきは今頃あんたは俺をた
広瀬
Where the fuck did you guys come from? The reason why you be skipping is to get to the meat of the Yakuza burger, and the meat is to whoop some ass. Yakuza's combat is about momentum, gaining momentum, transferring it, and knocking enemies with the ragdoll. And the albeit innovative turn-based system from Like a Dragon keeps stopping me from having any momentum. The Dragon engine deviates from Zero and Kiwami 1's stance-changing arcade mode, offering a more rudimental system and a less complicated skill tree. You take control of the Dragon style in the Dragon engine. Oh, Mr. Big Shot. Okay, you get your own. Oh, Mr. Daijiri Psycho. Meet the Tiger. Yeah. Yakuza 6's combat is simultaneously sluggish and rapid. You're basically superhuman, but you're also locked into your own attacks and very vulnerable from behind. And while Kiryu is Kiryu, he doesn't feel overpowered in any way. In fact, you get overrun, and you gotta consider using heat actions to catch your breath or using the throw to clear yourself some space. Enemies aren't damage sponges, but the recipe is simple and easy to remember. Throw light attacks and then hit a double finisher. But it changes depending on the angle of your dangle. If you heavy attack after one light attack, he'll Superman punch. But if you change direction, he'll do an axe kick combo or a jumping Mawashi Giri. Your finishes change depending how many light attacks you did before you start the double finishes. And this light variation gives enough room for replayability, but truthfully falls a little short of the Kiwami engine's array of combat choices. But you can parry. You get 3 sidestep dodges that can lunge, a heavy-hitting extreme heat mode that lets you button mash your finish into your enemies' faces. You get the normal array of heat actions, but the cherry atop the Dragon engine is the ragdoll. This is normally a flaw in games, but it works so well in the Dragon engine. At the end of each fight, you try to end it with a power move, so you see how far or what you can send your enemies flying to. And when the Like a Dragon innovates turn-based combat to new heights. It's fairly active, with your character moving around, using the positioning to ricochet enemies into allies or other enemies, and following up knockdown enemies. But do you know what the best type of turn-based combat is? Fact. One that you can skip. Like a Dragon may innovate, but compared to Yakuza, this shit is boring. I'm skipping the story to get a story of combat. Oh, look at me, I just bounced the enemy up another enemy with Tiger Drop. Oh, look, I'm doing a perfect guard, Tiger Drop. Oh, look, I'm lining up my attack for the next Tiger Drop. Honestly, just the Tiger Drop is more entertaining than the entire combat system of Like a Dragon. Like a Dragon makes its story absorption more mature than it needs to be, and that pains me because I see good writing. But I get more entertainment playing Yakuza 6, because story gates the combat in a hands-on Yakuza, but in Like a Dragon, combat gates the story. It's a good thing Stranger Than Heaven has a new innovation of combat with the left and right split going. These are the type of advancements I like to see in gaming, but Yakuza 0 and Kiwami 1 will always be my favorite, second only to the Tiger Drop. The story of Yakuza 6, when you're not skipping it, matches the vibe of the small hick town of Onomichi. It's a much more serious crime drama that has some absurdity as opposed to a wacky story with some serious moments. See, if you're eating a meal and the meat's the best thing, you gotta balance the rice by making it plain. And Yakuza is this meal in harmony, more seriously absurd and slower. This is Onomichi-san's game. It lets you take it slow and sip a whiskey, smoke a cigarette, live the life of the denizens of Onomichi. It goes beyond being a new map. It's a new lifestyle for Kiryu introduced in Yakuza. Here you have traditional... Motherfucker, I'm trying to build the fucking train. Here you have traditional Japanese architecture opposing a suburban commercial district. This is one of those towns where everybody knows everybody else and the people are never too busy to stop and say howdy. It's close-knit and personal. You're bound to bump into the same people multiple times, so it's only natural you'll end up getting involved in their personal lives, spending time at the snack-outy bar and leveling up your relationship with the regulars so that eventually they join your baseball team. Huh? accompany a father who's trying to surreptitiously observe who his daughter is seeing. A lot of moments in Onomichi reflect a slower life and call upon Kiryu's experience. He's a Ji-chan now. Haruka, the baby you took care of for 5 games if you're an OG or 1 if you knew. Either way, you'd have held her hand and now you hold her child, Haruto. When did she get it? Following the events of Yakuza 5, Haruka is hounded by her connections to Kiryu and his former ties to the Tojo clan. Fearing it would follow her to the orphans and affect any chance at a better life, Haruka leaves. Her journey takes her to Onomichi, the kind of town you can start fresh. And when you go there, you meet the people she met, the mama from Snack Kiyomi, who goes by the name of Kiyomi, the Hirose family with Nagumo, Yuta, this guy, and Matsunaga, led by Takeshi from Takeshi's Castle, who brings a subtle, brilliant humor that incredibly never broke the dramatic tension of the situations it occurred in. Here, supporting characters don't just exist, they supplement the story and sometimes even steal the show, developing a complex web of secrets, deception, and legacy. And Haruka's baby is at the center of it all, tying Kiryu to the shadow games that has yet to involuntarily wade into, but never ceasing to take a minute to sip some whiskey and have a smoke break, or pick up Onomichi's helmet and make some kids smile, or fighting a giant squid underwater. They still don't slack off from the absurdity, but it's balanced far better than Infinite Wealth, because when you want to kick some ass, there's no turn-based combat. You can feel the heat, the sound effects, the screen effects, the button mashing finishes, the tiger drops, Kiryu's fighting style. It all ties in with the story. Yakuza has always managed to perfectly tie in all aspects of the game into a meticulous bento presentation where every item on the menu enhances the next, and this culminates into the Song of Life. It'll make you laugh and then get you to whoop some ass. It'll make you furrow your brow and pay attention, then it's time to whoop some ass. It'll catch you off guard and actually make you shed a tear. It gets you mad from the start. Why is my baby girl in the hospital? Where is her son's father? Give me back my baby, cause if you don't, then it's time to whoop some. After RGG oversaturated Kiwami 3 and murdered Vikia, I have been apprehensive, and upon seeing Stranger Than Heaven, I still am. All I know is the writing looks to take us back to a serious series, and the combat looks enticing. RGG have always had authentic storytelling, and I just hope they're not diluting any of that to fit more into what they've been told the Western audience wants, because when they didn't give a damn about the Western audience, they gave us Yakuza, and Yakuza 6 was the best way to close Kiryu's story. It was the last true Yakuza game, and with Gang of Dragon World seemingly dead in the water, all hopes rest on Stranger Than Heaven to bring us something close to what we got like a decade ago with Yakuza 6, the Son of Tiger Drama.